Hi everyone, I'm Jane and welcome back to MYTERN City. Yeah, we have a very exciting episode for you today and we're being introduced to one of our very lively characters in the MYTERN City. I wonder if you can guess which one of those characters on the wall I'm going to be talking about today. Let me introduce you to TEP. He's a very exciting character. Now, TEP stands for Trigger for Extra Precaution. And that's way too long to say. We're not going to say that. So TEP is much, much easier. Now, TEP looks a bit of a character, doesn't he? He looks as though he's a little bit mischievous. And he's even got his thumb down. I wonder what that means. Well, TEP is in charge of those things that tend to influence you to drive onto a rough road. And TEPs can be all sorts of things. When we introduced you to the rough roads on Monday, Sue's played a game and she introduced you to some things that tended to put, there was loud noises or there was sharp things and things that could influence you to go onto a pretty rough red road. Can you remember what some of them were? I can remember one of them that was a TEP for me, and that TEP was the recorder. And they were playing all sorts of, just playing out of tune, and it didn't really sound very nice, and it was very loud. So that loud music was a TEP for me. So what happened was it influenced me to drive onto that red rough road because I didn't like that very much. And that's what TEPs do. They influence you to drive onto that rough road. And sometimes they influence you to go out of control on that smooth road. So TEPs are very tricky. So TEP is in charge of challenging you to go onto that rough road. But why would you want to go onto a rough road? Isn't life supposed to be smooth and easy? No, says TEP. No, it isn't. We're supposed to go on those up and down roads because that's where we build our resilience and become very tough for when the road gets rough, but we also become better drivers. So these TEPs that TEP introduces into our lives are actually very exciting challenges because they make us better people. So an example of being on a smooth green road of excitement, so you might be really excited about something. And we used that example the other day. It might be your birthday the next morning and you just can't wait. And so you're really excited and you go to bed and you're excited and you can't get to sleep and you can't get to sleep and you can't get to sleep. And suddenly your excitement becomes a bit of a TEP, because it's overdone and you can't sleep. It influences you to go out of control. The wonderful thing about TEP though, he comes into all sorts of parts of your days. For example, when you first wake up in the morning, you may have to get out of bed and you don't want to because it's nice and warm because the days are starting to get cooler and you want to stay in your nice warm bed. So it's a bit of a TEP for you to want to get out. That could be your first TEP. Another TEP could be, I don't want to have a shower. I don't like showers. I just want to get on and get outside and ride my bike. Or I just want to go and do something. I don't want to have my shower first. That could be a TEP for you. One of the TEPs could be a brother or sister who tend to come up and take your things. Or they annoy you because they always want to play with you and you don't want to play with them. That can be a bit of a TEP. Another TEP could be having to clean up your room. You don't want to do that. You want to just keep playing. Do I have to stop and tidy my room? These challenges that you have of getting out of bed, showers, brothers and sisters, tidying your room, all of those things, these are little TEPs. And what they're doing is they are influencing you to go onto that rough red road, as we said before, so you can increase your driving skills and become tough for when the road gets rough. Oh, that was Busker's motto. I wonder what TEP's motto is. Now, TEP's motto reflects his challenge, the way he loves to challenge you. I help you steer onto roads you might fear. That's a different one, isn't it? Let's do it together. I help you steer onto roads you might fear. Let's do it loud. I help you steer onto roads you might fear. Now quietly. I help you steer onto roads you might fear. Wow, that is a different motto, isn't it? And you know what? I think he's right too. Because he challenges you, he actually helps you drive onto those rough roads that you might be a bit scared of. So he's there to help you along with busker. So when it's a TEP that's really strong and you go onto a really rough road, you've got them both there to help you. How exciting is that? And now it's time for our daily rhyme with Alana. I wonder what she's going to do with TEP.
Hello again. We're nearly at the end of the week. Another song for you today, and this one is about TEP. I'm thinking we've all probably experienced a little bit of TEP in the last week or two. Here we go. When someone takes your special toy or does something that will annoy, that's just TEP who loves to test. Wave to him, then grab your pet. Feeling better already.
That was great, thanks Alana. Another wonderful rhyme to remember. And now, to understand TEP even further, we're going to play a little game with Suze. How exciting.
Hello everyone, Suze here. Hey, what road are you on? I'm sure by now you're getting really great at checking in with yourself throughout every day and asking yourself that question. How am I feeling right now? What road am I on? Have you been asking other people in your house as well? Great. Well, I know I say this every day, but I'm on my really excited green road today. One of the reasons is because I'm enjoying so much working with you every single day. So thank you so much for being here. But the other thing is, I'm so excited that Jane has finally introduced you to one of our other friends up here. That's right, TEP. Do you remember what TEP stands for? Well done. TEP stands for trigger for extra precaution. I think you probably noticed that he's up here on the red road with Busker. And it sounds a little bit scary. And I was thinking sometimes when we don't understand something, it can feel a little bit scary. So would you like to do some activities with me today so we can learn a little bit more about this guy TEP? Great. Okay, so let's focus our body and our mind ready to do an activity about TEP. Let's find a comfy spot, either on your bottom or maybe on the couch. And we're going to do some box breathing together. Can you draw a box with your finger in the air? Great. Now, while we're drawing our box, we're going to count to 4 in our head as we go along each side. And we're going to practice breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth. So the first side, we're going to count to 4 and breathe in. Then we're going to hold. Then we're going to let the breath out. And then we're going to hold, ready to do it again. And we're going to do it 3 times. Okay, nice and comfy, finger ready to breathe in through your nose. I'll count out loud, but don't forget, do your counting in your head. Let's go. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Again, in, hold, out, hold. Last time. Well done. Thanks for joining me for some box breathing. And don't forget to teach somebody else in your house how to do box breathing as well. Okay, everyone, it's time to become a TEP detective. I know that sounds a little bit tricky, but actually when you're becoming a detective and discovering things about yourself, it's actually quite simple. You've already become a really great detective, figuring out your emotions and which road you're on. And this is just digging a little bit deeper. What do you think about that? I know you can do it. Okay, so we can see the TEPs over here on the rough red road with Busker. And that's because often when we're experiencing an emotion and we find ourselves on the rough red road, that's because TEP has actually influenced us to steer onto that road. So it's really important that once we find ourselves on that rough red road, we stop and we have a think about what happened? How did I get here? What was the TEP? And once you get into the habit of doing that, it becomes easier and easier. And then you can stop and say, I know the TEP. Okay, so I'm going to start by sharing with you some of my TEPs. But what I need you to do is to have something that you can use to record the TEPs while we're having a talk. Would that be okay? So it doesn't matter whether you've got a piece of paper, blank, lined, whether you've got a blackboard or whiteboard. Can you find something that you can either write or draw on to record the TEPs today? Okay, so I've got a whiteboard here and I'm going to add some of my TEPs here and tell you a little bit about why they're my TEPs. And if while you're listening you think, oh, that's one of my TEPs too, you can add that to your list. But just remember, there's no wrong roads in the MYTERN city and there's no wrong emotions. And something that might be a TEP for me might not be a TEP for you. And that's okay. All right, let me start with this one. At the moment, we're at home and I'm not able to see my friends. I'm not able to go walking with my friends. I'm not able to go and get my nails done with my friends or have coffee with my friends or dinner. And so being alone is one of my TEPs. And that's because I feel quite disappointed about that. Now, while we're at home, there's 5 people in my house and we're all very different people. And often different people don't think the same things. They don't want to do the same things. And often we're not even on, all on a red road or all on a green road. Some of us are having lots of different emotions and that can cause us to argue. But you know what? It's sometimes really rough to watch people that you love argue. And so arguing, that's a TEP for me. Also, we're having to do a lot of our work at home at the moment. Grown-ups are having to work at home and children are having to learn online at home or with take-home packages. And that can become really, really stressful. Sometimes if the computer won't work or if you don't know how to do the activity, it can feel really overwhelming and you can find yourself on a rough, stressed road. So all of this online working from home, I think that can be a TEP for me. Recently, we had some colds in our house. We had the sniffles, and once again, because there's 5 people in the house, sometimes the germs go around and around. And I know lots of people are worried about a virus at the moment. And that's because being sick and feeling sick, that's a TEP for me. Is that a TEP for you? If it is, don't forget to pop it down on your list. I don't think I'm the only one in my house that finds this one a TEP. Have you ever heard of the word hangry? That's when you start to feel a little bit angry because you're hungry. So hangry is a cross between angry and hungry. If I'm feeling hungry, I definitely get a little bit hangry. Yes, that's a TEP for me too. Here's another one. I'm just going to share 6 with you today. If I spend too much time on my device, on things like games and social media, I find that that's a TEP for me too. Sometimes it gives me a little bit of a headache, or I start to feel a bit scrunched up in my body. Yeah, that can definitely influence me to steer onto a rough red road. Thank you so much for joining me for our TEP brainstorm. You've become a really great TEP detective, and I'm so proud of you because do you know what? TEPs tend to show up each and every day, even for grown-ups. So it's really important that you don't judge yourself because of your TEPs. Your TEPs might not be the same as mine, and that's okay. What I'm hoping is that you are able to not blame yourself when you find yourself on a rough red road. If you can identify your emotion, identify the road that you're on, and identify the TEP, then you're actually taking some really massive steps towards building your resilience. Well done.
Thanks, Suze. That helps us understand that TEPs aren't something to be worried about. What can be a bit of a TEP for many of us is getting sick. And we don't want to get sick. That's a bit of a TEP, and it can take you onto a pretty rough road sometimes. So we've got a very special guest today, Natalie, and she is going to show us how we can wash our hands properly so we don't get sick.
Hi everybody, Natalie here from Life Centre Music with my hand washing song that I wrote a couple of weeks ago. You can practice washing your hands now while I sing it to you, and then you'll be able to sing it while you are actually washing your hands. It goes like this. Wash your hands, wash with me. Wash your hands to keep healthy. Wash your hands, wash with me. Wash, 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 wash. Now next, our palms, we're going to rub them together and between our fingers, 2. Palms together, rub, 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 between the fingers, scrub, scrub, scrub. Palms together, rub, 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 wash, 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 wash. Excellent. Now, tops of our hands this time, up here. Tops of our hands, we'll wash them too. This is what we're going to do. Tops of our hands, wash them too. Wash, 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 wash. Great work. Next, we'll wash our fingers one by one and remembering our thumbs as well. Wash your fingers one by one. Don't forget to wash your thumbs. Wash your fingers one by one. Wash, 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 wash. Excellent job, people. We'll go back to the beginning and we'll do the first part again faster. Here we go. Wash your hands and wash with me. Wash your hands to keep healthy. Wash your hands and wash with me. Wash, 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 wash again. Wash your hands and wash with me. Wash your hands to keep healthy. Wash your hands and wash with me. Wash, 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 wash. Wash, 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 wash. Wash, 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 wash.
Well, I know I'm going to be singing that song now whenever I wash my hands. Very catchy. Thanks, Natalie. And now we've got a very special guest, Ben. And because this is both physical but also mindful. I hope you enjoy it.
Hello everyone, my name's Ben Munting. I'm a senior instructor at Flanagan and Chug Taekwondo. We operate out of nearly every suburban location in Tasmania. If you're interested and you enjoy what you've done today, you can find us on Facebook at Flanagan and Chug Taekwondo. Now today we're going to go through a few basic techniques of Taekwondo, which is our martial art. We're going to go through some punches and some stance work, as well as some basic kicks, the 3 basic kicks that everybody learns when they first start Taekwondo as a beginner. These things can be done easily in your lounge room or in any small space at home, but definitely outside in the backyard is an even better place to do it. Lots of room to throw your arms and legs about. The very first thing we're going to learn to do today is what's called a horse riding stance. The reason it's called that is because you look like you're riding a horse. You'll put your feet apart as if you're about to do a nice simple stretch. When you're in that position, all we simply do is bend our knees whilst keeping our back straight. Imagine you're sitting straight down on a little pony or a little horse. From here, I want you to make two fists by rolling your fingers down to your palms, bringing your thumbs across the front of the fingers, and there's your perfect punching fist. I want you to then lock those fists on your hips, okay, about where my belt is. So, feet bent, back straight, hands locked. Put one of those fists out in front, doing a pretend punch. I want to make sure that your thumb is pointing down to the floor. If I were to imagine I'm holding a ball, if I opened my hand, I drop the ball. So that's where I want my palm facing. From here, I want you to get into the rhythm of punching and also returning this hand to your hip. So you'll go punch, swap, punch, swap, punch, swap. And when you feel comfortable with this, I want you to add a bit of speed. But don't just go as fast as you can. I want you to focus on bringing that hand back to the hip and producing lots of power. You can hear my uniform snap as I punch. That's what I want you to focus on. As you're doing these techniques, I want you to focus on your breathing. Deep breaths in, nice strong breaths out. The way we encourage breathing at Taekwondo is to breathe out on the technique. But we don't just breathe and sound silly. We make a cool noise called a ki-up. A ki-up is just a short, sharp, loud noise that encourages breathing. Do! When I make that noise, I'm breathing in at the start, do! And I'm breathing out with a noise on the technique. This encourages breathing, it produces a stronger technique, and it's lots of fun. Just make sure you've got mum and dad's permission. So, horse stance. Feet apart, like we're about to do a little stretch. Knees bent, back straight, like I'm sitting on my horse. Fingers down, thumbs across, locked. Put one punch out, focus on power and precision, and then breathing. And if you have mum and dad's permission, do! Do! Focus on your ki-ups. So that's one simple exercise to do with our punches, perfect fists. The next are our three basic kicks. These are the same kicks I learnt when I started Taekwondo many, many years ago, the same kicks you're going to learn now. Firstly, you're going to put one leg, we normally pick our right leg, put it back one step. Bend your knees slightly and put your fists up so you look like you're fighting. If I turn sideways, foot back, knees bent, fists up, look like I'm fighting. It's called fighting stance. You can see why. From here, I want you to practice just lifting the knee up, putting the knee down with good balance. Knee up, practicing that good breathing. When you feel confident that you can do that simple movement, you're going to push your foot forward. Kick, down, kick, down. This is called a front kick because if I turn back to you, my front kick is going to the front. Up with the knee, out with the foot, balanced back and down. Kick. Introduce our breathing. And if you've got permission, introduce your ki-ups. You can do these kicks low, middle, or big, and you can do them fast, or you can do them slow. And that's our front kick. The next technique we're going to work on is called a side kick. I'll stay facing you for now so you can see. Again, this time, instead of kicking to the front, I'm going to turn my eyes to the side and I'm going to kick towards the wall on this side. If I looked this way, I'd be kicking to the wall on this side. Whichever way I'm looking, that's the leg that's kicking. So if I turn my eyes to the side, I put my guard up in fighting stance. I'm going to practice lifting my knee straight up, putting it down. Up, down, balance, up, down. When I'm confident, I keep my eyes looking to the side, but my body facing front. I pump the knee up, and then I kick my foot this time to the side. Bang, for side kick. Guard, up, breathe in, out, down, up, breathe in, breathe out. And if you have permission, up, down, down. Same thing the other side. Up, kick, down, up, kick, down. Now if I turn this way, so you can get the kick coming towards you, guard up, eyes look to the side, knees straight up to the roof, breathe in, extend, down, down. And that's our side kick. So, front kick goes to the front, side kick goes to the side, and our third kick we're going to practice is called a roundhouse kick. Now, you don't have to go outside and jog around your house to do this kick. No. Roundhouse kick just means that just like you were running around the house, you're going to be doing a circular movement. So instead of it being front or side, roundhouse will go around, stop, back down. It's as if you're drawing the letter D. Big belly for the D, straight back. Again, start by putting one foot back, bending the knees, guard up, biting stance. Instead of lifting my knee up like I have been practicing, I want you to practice lifting your knee around. See how I brought it over? So my foot is pointing towards this wall and my knee is pointing towards that wall. So instead of it being roof and floor, now it's door to door. So that's a good way to remember. Roof and floor for front kick and side kick. Door to door for roundhouse. So, practice. Good breathing. In. Notice how my foot has to turn. Roundhouse. When you're confident, you'll add the kick. If I do a small one, door to door with my knee, flick the foot back, down. I want you to imagine that you need to kick and then bring your foot back to your bottom as quickly as you can. So, knee door to door, kick, bottom, down. Do it a bit slower for the camera. Up, out, back, down. And that's how I want you to practice to get used to this kick. This is a hard kick, but you're going to do it. Up, door to door, kick, pop, back down. Up, kick, back down. Up, kick, back down. And if you've got permission, breathe in on the way up, key up on the way out. Down! Roundhouse kick. So today we've learnt horse stance, punches. We've learnt fighting stance, front kick, roof to floor, front kick. We've learnt side kick, roof to floor, side kick. And we've learnt roundhouse kick, door to door, flick. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, remember my name's Ben Munting. I'm one of the instructors at Flanagan and Chug Taekwondo. You can find us on Facebook. Thank you so much for having me in your homes. Stay safe, have fun.
Thanks so much, Ben. That was fabulous. I think a lot of people will be watching that video again. Thank you. Oh, and now we welcome Mia again. I wonder what skill she's going to teach us today. Even if you're not a skateboarder, it's just fun watching her, isn't it?
Your kick turns and your ollies, you'll be able to 180 perfectly. But here's how you do it. So you bend your knees, then you turn your shoulders, then you ollie, and you'll go with your turn. So with me, ready? I bend my knees, I turn my shoulders, and I'll pop. And I bend my knees when I land. That's basically it. Now remember to bend your knees, turn your shoulders, and pop. And remember to always land with bent knees. I call it Spider-Man crouch. Here's a slow-mo clip, and you can always re-watch this and see what I do with my feet and my shoulders. Ready? Great job, guys. See you next time.
Thanks, Mia. Another great challenge for us. Now, some of you might find when you're practicing something new, like the skateboard, and you fall off, that can be a bit of a tip because you get cross because you can't do it, so there's that frustration, but also you might hurt yourself. So trying to learn something new can be a tip, but don't stop just because it is, because remember, TEP is challenging you, which is really exciting. So thanks, Mia, for doing that. Oh, it's coming to the end of another wonderful lesson. Thank you for joining Suze and I and all our special guests. Alana and Mia have joined us again, which is fantastic. And thank you again to our special guest, Ben, who taught us those wonderful moves that, as I said, are both physical and mindful. And our other special guest was Natalie, who taught us how to wash our hands properly with that wonderful song. Thank you. Now we're going to end again with our song, which is It's My Turn. So have fun dancing to that and see if you can see yourself in the video. If you want to be in the video, send us a dance video and we'll see if we can put it in. Until tomorrow, enjoy your TEPs. Bye.
It's my turn. It's my steering wheel. It's my turn. It's my voice. Red roads are rough and green roads are smooth. No roads are judged, I get the freedom to choose. Red roads are rough and green roads are smooth. No roads are judged, I get the freedom to choose. It's my turn. It's my steering wheel. It's my turn. It's my voice. When I'm in control, that's when I'm in the flow. When I'm in control, I get to grow. Choosing a rough road, my driving improves. Choosing a smooth road, I feel the groove. Choosing a rough road, my driving improves. Choosing a smooth road, I feel the groove. It's my turn. It's my steering wheel. It's my turn. It's my voice.